But if I could give anyone a piece of advice, it's just carry those two words, don't quit, at the front of your brain. And all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all of that will fall into place. You're going to have to sacrifice. So, yeah, that's the main thing is just don't quit.
Well, hello and welcome to the SOMO Cowork Member Spotlight. Today we're here with two very special guests. They are the founders of Force Media, a company that we very lovingly have a wonderful work relationship with. We do so much work with you guys. You're an amazing part of all the media and everything that we produce, including this episode. And you guys had a very unique and incredible story to how you got to where you are today, starting out on a boat and working on a boat and then getting to the point where now you're running this media company. And I'd love to just have you take us back and tell us, what is that story to getting from working on a boat to creating something where it's a whole different industry and getting into that creative field.
Well, first off, thank you for having us. We actually started working on a chicken farm first together in high school. We managed 1,300 chickens 7 days a week. And that's kind of where our entrepreneurial spirit began. We had a 26-year-old boss who hired two high school kids to feed and collect all the eggs, or feed the chickens and collect all the eggs. So we started with that, and then after high school, worked some other jobs as well. But always we're looking for like what kind of businesses we could get into, and had various ventures, but did end up getting an opportunity to purchase a commercial salmon fishing boat with another buddy at the time, and we fished up and down the coast of California. And how we kind of stumbled into media and marketing was price per pound for salmon got cut in half pretty early on in our fishing journey. And we're like, well, that sucks. And if you don't know, you sell the fish to like a middleman essentially at the dock, and then they have the relationships to sell it to grocery stores and restaurants and things like that. So we thought we should start our own social media channel and start to market our own fish. And we had little success with it, but that's kind of how we got into it. We ended up getting out of that business, and when we were deciding what we were going to do next, we came across a course for marketing and took it, and the rest is history with that.
Yeah, printed out business cards and a list of 100 businesses in our local area, and this was before ChatGPT or anything, so we actually researched them and did it, by hand. And we split the businesses 50-50. Tyler went to 50, I went to 50, and we just, started working our pitch for the first time, introducing ourselves to people and telling them what we did. And out of those 100 businesses, one business owner who owned 2 restaurants hired us to do some social media content and rebuild his website. So it was, as Tyler said, just all kind of, I'd like to say downhill from there, but it was an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and how did that first job go? Because you said you started with social media for the fish, but that it didn't turn out the way you'd hoped. And so I think that's really inspiring to hear that stepping stone journey, that it's not always an overnight success and to keep going. So I'd love to hear that.
Totally. I think statistically, like most successful business owners have a couple businesses that failed before they found the one that, correctly landed for them, and we're no different than that. But in the midst of the very first job, it felt like we had done a pretty great job, I think. And I think just because we were new is why we felt that. But, looking back 7 or 8 years later, we rebuilt that website for the restaurant owner, kind of out of like moral obligation, because it was pretty poor, and as were the photos and the social media. But the most important thing is whatever you're doing, you have to just start, and you can iterate and make it better as you go along, but you have to have the courage just to get rocking and rolling.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's such an important message for anyone just getting started, and what your best is at a current moment might really evolve and change, and to be able to go back and and kind of step back in and redo that, I
Yeah.
think shows a lot.
You have to stick the course, and Tyler and I have both been into martial arts our whole lives, and I think that's been like business and a martial arts arena aren't too different in a sense where like anybody who got really good at jiu-jitsu or boxing or anything, they just stayed the course. You know, they were getting beat up at the very, very beginning of it, and they just kept showing up every day, and business is really no different. You're going to get beat up. It's a bit of a bloodbath in the early days. And, you know, we for years didn't pay ourselves a paycheck and were door dashing or delivering tortillas or doing whatever we could to like pay ourselves while we were building this. But nonetheless, you know, a decade goes by and you look back and it's crazy amount of work that compounds that you can reflect on, and you start to actually blossom into like that professional you wanted to be.
Yeah, you got to stay in the game.
Got to stay in the game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and on that note, you mentioned a course, and so I'd love to hear your thoughts on, you know, education and school training versus kind of just diving in and getting started. A lot of people think they need all these certifications or training or courses or that degree, and sometimes that even holds them back from even starting. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think everybody's situation is unique and different, and it's not a one-size-fits-all course for anybody, but kind of back to what I just said of, like, you just got to get in the game eventually and figure things out. And the real world, some professions require education, and I'm a huge believer in continuous education and reading books. We're huge book readers, and listen to business podcasts and just absorb game from anybody that'll give it to us. So yeah, I think everybody's situation's unique, and for us, we just were action takers, and the course did help us a lot, but we just had to get in the game.
And a lot of people are skeptical towards like online courses being sold, and me myself, I mean 99% of them I see, I still feel like there's a charlatan behind it. But nonetheless, I believe this was a quote from the fella Ty Lopez who sold us the course. At the end of it, he said, if you want to be successful in business, and a $500 investment in your education can't be really that like big of a deal to you, you know? And I think a lot of people will spend, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to go to school and become a veterinarian or a lawyer or something of that nature. So investing in courses, it paid off hugely for us, and I don't think people have to be so skeptical towards it. But as Tyler said, there's many ways to bake a cake, and personally, I believe success leaves a lot of clues, and if you go on YouTube or listen to the right podcasts or read the right books, you can get the right information and implement it into your life without going to school. But, you know, we've met many successful clients, partners, team members who come from the college background, and they're really smart too. So don't want to hate on it, but ultimately I think you could go either way now.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think that's such a well-rounded answer. It really is true. There's not a right or wrong. It's just, you know, there's just different paths and approaches. And so thank you for walking us through that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So a lot of what you do now is around the social media world, which has rapidly evolved, even probably since you first got started and making those salmon videos back then. So what are your thoughts, I guess, on current approaches to marketing for businesses or branding, you know, just creating content versus ads, the idea of going viral? What are your thoughts on all of that?
I think, like, one thing that's never changed is, in any endeavor of life, is just being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of back to what Polo was saying is, like, you got to start and then iterate along the way and just figure out what works for your business. There's a bunch of strategies. You can scroll online and get 1,000 tips that are different from one another, but you got to just figure out what works for your business. And in terms of going viral, I don't think that should be like the North Star for many businesses. I think that cultivating an audience of people who actually can benefit from the education you give them or that will actually buy from you is much more valuable. And there are, like, getting a lot of attention is the first step in bringing people into your funnel or business. So it does serve value, but I just don't think it should be like the North Star for what you're going after. Putting out just good content that represents who you are as a business, and the right people will show up. Yeah, and then in terms of like organic content versus ads, both are important. And one thing that is prevalent today is like your organic content that performs well will be your best ads. And you don't necessarily need to put money behind content that is going to, with that, it's like a blind guess essentially if you just run it directly as an ad rather than first testing it organically and getting that data of what performs best and then throwing a call to action at the end of it and using it as an ad. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I think, as Tyler said, two things that we're really big on and we preach to all of our clients and really anyone who wants to hear us talk about social media, but it's consistency and generosity. You have to be consistent in just getting posts out and research and everything that goes into it, and then generous in the value you give and how often you give that to people. And I think not expecting anything in return is huge too, whether it's like sales or social media. Everyone's in a hurry for like their first big viral post or they want to be famous. But to me, it was always like the 1,000 reps of failure were going to give me the specialized knowledge to know how to do that and to figure out how to speak to the right people and use these platforms. So I always tell people, like, don't be in a hurry to go viral or, you know, get some sort of post that makes you millions of dollars. Just be in a hurry to get your reps in, and through that you'll learn how to do so. You know, it's not like I heard this Roger Federer quote, like Larry Ellison, the owner of Oracle, asked him, "Do you love winning?" And he said, "I don't love winning. I love the fight. When you love the fight, the winning comes along with it." And that's sort of how I think about social media is.
Yeah.
I don't care if posts go famous. I just love marketing and putting stuff out there, and with that comes the return I think people are looking for. And then another thing I want to add is, you know, AI is obviously very much on the rise right now, and it seems like more and more every day the posts that go out are AI videos, or the scripts are AI, or the captions are AI. Like, we're living in this social media world where everyone's getting their copywriting from the same three sources, right? So one thing that I've been telling a lot of clients lately is that personal branding and authenticity are only going to become more powerful as people lean more and more into like this automated version of posting on social media. So really leaning into who you are, having the courage to show your face on camera, and just be yourself. Like, don't second guess if your caption or your headline is good and ask ChatGPT or Claude if it is. Like, just go with what you authentically thought was good. And I think that's going to get more and more rewarded as we go more into this AI era.
Yeah, can you speak more even to AI beyond just the captions and social media? How is that impacting your world and the scope of the work you do even?
For the last, 3-4 years, however long it's been since like we've been using ChatGPT in our company, I honestly felt it was like pretty underwhelming. I thought you had to work really hard to get good copywriting, and it wasn't like this take all these jobs out type thing yet that everyone was kind of saying it's going to be. That being said, 2026, it's April 8th or 9th today. What day are we on?
9th.
It's April 9th. It's early. I'm sorry. I do feel it's kind of getting to the overwhelming point where like new things are being rolled out every day. Sometimes it's the same stuff that gets like rebranded, repackaged. But nonetheless, I think I could speak for our production team and Tyler here when I say the tools have been extremely helpful for us, and they've really added speed into like our processes, I'd say. And you know, there's no one smarter than Claude in terms of what it knows and what it could check in blind spots and things of that nature. You just have to make sure you're prompting it correctly so it doesn't take you Like, what's that saying? If you're on a boat and you go slightly, just like 1 degree to an angle for a long distance of time, you'll end up at a totally different destination. So you very much so have to make sure you're using the technology correctly. But I think of it as like when electricity was introduced to the masses, there was a lot of jobs lost, a lot of new jobs created. When the internet was introduced to the masses, Yellow Pages jobs went away, a lot of print jobs went away, but many digital jobs came to surface. And I think AI's, history repeats itself. So I think something similar is happening in a sense where a tremendous amount of jobs, coders, copywriters, whatever, they probably will be obsolete in a couple years, but a new tremendous amount of jobs will be created. And personally, I use Claude all day, and I'm working more hours than I've ever worked before. And I think generally most people in the AI field, although they have these new automated tools, they're working longer days than they ever have before. So I don't know what kind of coincidences there, but yeah, I hope that answered the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you. And do you have any thoughts?
Just to piggyback on that, it's a tool just like anything else. And like another comparison is like the farmers who were scared of the tractor when they were using the shovel.
Yes.
It's the same kind of thing. And being able to do things faster is good for everybody. And even like those positions that AI, like coding, for example, it's just going to help the best coders do it faster and better. So I don't look at it as like this going to take everybody's job type thing. I think it's just going to make better people do better work and be able to generate more of it, essentially.
Thank you for speaking to that. I know it's a very big topic and continues to keep growing.
Yeah.
Lean into it. I think in the next 2 years, people who kind of became obsessed with AI and really, really decided, like, I'm going to learn this and become a master at it, they're going to be very grateful they did and probably make a lot of money. There will be a lot of people in 3 to 5 years that are kicking themselves like, oh, I could have learned this. This was like when the internet came out. I could have became an expert in this field early and kind of trailblazed in some way a bit. So definitely don't be scared of it. Immerse yourself in it, and you'll have a better understanding of it if it does become a robot that tries to take over the world.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Oh my gosh. Well, definitely, I think it's really nice to just remember, like, it is a tool.
Yeah.
And, how can we use it in a way that's supportive and effective and not through fear.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. So for anyone watching who maybe is just getting started or wanting to build their own company or entrepreneurial journey, what are some tips you would maybe share with them, or like looking back on your journey, anything that maybe you would have done differently?
And it sounds like a broken record, but you just got to get in the game. And also doing things you like is very beneficial to your success with whatever you're doing. You have to like what you do, or you'll never do good work. So, yeah, I mean, getting in the game and then just being a student and, like, ask for feedback and constructive criticism is huge. I think that's something Polo and I have always done extremely well. Like, we still know there's so much that we don't know, and we have things to learn. And I think that mindset is what creates the best business people, because there's always things to learn, and we also forget that we forget. And seeking knowledge, you will be like, oh, I connect it back to the thing I learned from that book I read, or whatever it may be. So, yeah, just being a student and iterating as you go is huge.
Yeah, I agree with 100% of that. You can say all sorts of, like, philosophical pieces of advice. It's about, like, finding unrecognized patterns and, like, normal day-to-day culture stimuli and then capitalizing off that, right? But nonetheless, the main thing I think you have to keep at, like, the forefront of your thoughts is I never quit. And that's the main thing, is, like, there's still probably a lot of things we have no idea about, and we're learning every single day, almost 10 years into this. But if I could give anyone a piece of advice, is just carry those two words, don't quit, at the front of your brain. And all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all of that will fall into place. You're going to have to sacrifice if you start in your 20s like we did. At any point in your life, though, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice. You know, we didn't go to parties. We didn't vacation. We didn't have nice cars until our late 20s. And you got to be willing to give those things up and care more about whatever it is you want to do. That's where the passion comes in, as Ty said, because there's going to be days where you're broke and it sucks and it seems like it's not working out. But if you have a little bit of passion to bring you towards this, and you don't care about money or, you know, one specific client not working out or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's the main thing, is just don't quit.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, just summarizing, it's like stay the course, keep going, and really that continuous improvement, education, and wanting, like, kind of wanting to seek more knowledge, because
Be a
sometimes people do
sponge.
one thing and then and then they just think, okay, now I'm good and I can just do this. But it's like having that growth mindset.
Yeah,
And
That's
huge.
really valuable.
One other thing I'll add to it, I didn't really realize this about myself till I read it the other day, but like, luckier people, and I consider us lucky with how things have worked out. It doesn't work out for a lot of people as it has for us, but luckier people, I think, are more extroverted people typically, just because they're willing to talk to everybody and ask them how their day's going. What do you do for work? How'd you get into that? How do you guys get clients right now, you know? And that's something that we've always, I think, naturally kind of gravitated towards. But nonetheless, if I could give anyone like some more specific advice as opposed to don't quit, it's just be magnetic and talk to everybody. And, you know, don't talk to them looking for an outcome right away, but just try to cultivate some sort of real rapport with them and sincerely connect with them. And I swear to God, that's probably been our biggest secret, is the ability to emotionally connect with people on a real level too. I don't want anything from them when I start talking to them. I don't care if they turn into business or not. If they do, I'm very grateful and excited, very eager. But nonetheless, yeah, just if you want to be luckier, talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah, people will lead you to knowledge and business connections. Like, you have to talk to people in pretty much any business endeavor. And like Polo said, treating them like you're just cultivating a relationship. And at first, even like, how can I provide you value, or asking questions just to stimulate them and get them talking about themselves and learn from them. You have to be very magnetic is a great word.
Yeah. Yep. For
Yeah.
sure.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's really valuable for anyone, and it is transferable to any industry, really. So it's just, you know, being able to have that genuine, authentic curiosity and questions, and wanting to connect and wanting to kind of branch out, not just hiding or kind of staying in a shell.
Yeah. I mean, you got to leave your house. Nothing's going to get done if you're just by yourself in your bedroom. So.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable for anybody starting out. You're like, oh, but are they going to think I'm stupid? Is that a bad question? Or like, and the truth is, anybody that's doing better than you wants to help you up for the most part. And people that are going to hate on you and think putting yourself out there and trying to make the relationship or ask the question and hates on that is typically someone trying to drag you down.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any experiences like that? Or?
I have a short memory in terms of like,
That's also good to like block it out.
yeah,
It's like, it doesn't matter.
I'm sure there's been experiences, but I can't think of anything that comes to mind.
Anyone who has any type of success has hate or someone like trying to cast stones at them. We don't really pay attention to it, I feel like. If anything, laughter is the best medicine. I think it gets a good belly laugh out of us when it does happen. But, yeah, I don't really like to give that.
Yeah.
I like a clean energy. I don't like when there's friction and any kind of, like, relationship or deal. So, for the most part, I try to, like a racehorse has its blinders on, we'll keep our blinders on and keep going forward.
Yeah. It's not worth focusing on the negative, but on the other hand, we have had, back to kind of luck of what Polo said, we've had so many people help us along the way. Like even our first client, it was this older couple, and the wife just saw something in us and told the husband, like, let's give these guys a shot. They knew we had little to no experience and gave us a shot. And we had, like, our first mentor pay for our first video ever to get produced.
Yeah, we had no money.
Yeah, helped us facilitate that. And, like, on the opposite side of, like, people who are above you want to help you up, we've had countless examples of that, of people wanting to help us and see us succeed.
If your car breaks down and you just stand outside of it and hold your thumb up asking for a ride, it's very unlikely that you'll get a ride. But if your car breaks down and you put it in neutral and you start trying to push it yourself, it's very likely that someone will get out and start helping you. So when you help yourself, others are willing to help you, I think. And we're walking testimonies to that for sure. And it's almost, I'm a big believer in God, but it's an outside force that, like, as the universe will conspire to help your dreams to become a reality as long as you have the right thoughts, actions, and intentions, I believe. So if you can land on those and, like we said, just start walking the path. Like you heard what we did. We literally printed out 100 businesses and went to 50 of them each. And, you can call these businesses, you can email them. Hardly anybody in their early to late 20s is doing those sorts of things. So I think you could be a real outlier if you do so. But
along your journey, people will help you.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you have the right intentions and they see the enthusiasm and the want to get better, and it's not like a quick transactional thing, people are going to help you.
Yep.
And we've had countless
ways you can't even imagine. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and I think that goes back to even what you were saying at the beginning. Don't quit, just keep going. Having that authentic desire for curiosity and connection, like that will take you very far. So
yeah, it's the simple things.
Yeah.
Like, people overcomplicate a lot of things in life, and, like, if you focus on the simple, you'll get far.
It goes back to say, too, like, when we started getting help from people, we had, like, 13 Instagram followers, and we weren't, like, naturally good at Instagram or anything. And, just when you start to help other people to help yourselves. And I think what I was going to say was it kind of funnels back to, like, people wanting to go viral and that being their main arrow. Like, we weren't necessarily trying to go viral, although it would have been nice. We were just posting to find the right people. And if you act like yourself, think like yourself, and post like yourself, the right people will find you. And we started making money, making connections, getting more clients, with under 100 followers, just because we didn't care about that number and we just wanted to make stuff for the right people. And that's essentially, I think, what people should focus on is, like, don't worry if it gets 1 million views or 1,000 likes or whatever. Even 100 views is a very large, room of people. So
Totally.
yeah, and looking forward now, so to where you are today and what you're trying to move forward, what are some new goals, or what do you envision for the next chapter for Force Media?
Continue to just get a day better. We want to serve the best businesses in the world and ones that we love and align with on, like, a brand and personal level. And it's a simple mission, essentially, of just we want to continue to go towards, like, serving the best businesses and helping them basically reach more people and do good with whatever their offering is. So, yeah, we're climbing the mountain still and got a long way to go.
And one thing we always say, too, is let's compete with the immortals, like the immortals of the advertising industry for us, which would be like, Ogilvy and Whedon and Kennedy and Kiat and Day, Gary Vee. I'm not sure if you know any of these, but nonetheless, just holding ourselves to that high standard is very important to us. Discourage bunting, never finish with your toenails on the line. But nonetheless, we're getting more and more work in, like, San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley. So I think our team's been really enjoying that, and we love Sonoma County. These are where we're deeply rooted. Our roots run deep here. But it's been fun to expand to the bigger cities. So as we grow more and more, we'll definitely, maybe expand offices, team there and whatnot, and then grow our roots very deep there, and then see where the next location is. But as we said before, we want to compete with the immortals. I don't know if, like, with the direction AI is going, if marketing agencies have to have like these 700 people teams anymore. But nonetheless, we both have an innate itch where we want to be the best at what we do.
Yeah.
And for any brands that might be watching or businesses that might be interested, can you share a little about what the process looks like today to get in touch with you or to work with you, or what kind of work you can provide?
Yeah. You could reach out to us through our Instagram or go to our website, foresmedia.com. And we work with businesses in like 2 different capacities. We work with them on a recurring basis where we're either an extension of their marketing team or become their marketing team. And then we also do one-off projects for companies as well. So, yeah, if you're wanting to reach out to us, talk about a certain project or to help your business scale brand awareness or lead generation, we would love to help them.
100%. Ready to attack it with an enthusiasm and gratitude no one's ever seen before.
Let's go.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for your time today. I think you shared so much amazing wisdom, and I'm very excited for people to hear this and hopefully want to connect and work with you. And it's very exciting that you're expanding, growing into other parts of the Bay Area, and it's on to whatever's next for you. I'm excited for this next chapter.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, we're grateful to be on here. We love our SOMO community, so this was a blast.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.